I've never been a fan of bullies, like just in general. When I was in school, hated seeing people get bullied, would do something about it. At the gym, that's what I want to talk about today. The gym bullies in the world who just come in and they look for the weakest person to take advantage of, and they just end up blasting them with shots way too hard. They don't think about size discrepancy, sometimes even gender. They don't think about anything. They're just bullies. How do we deal with this? Why is it happening? I want to touch on all that today because it's important stuff, and I just don't want people on the channel feeling like, oh, I can't go to a sparring session without knowing what to do. And I get messages with people asking me about this. And I can say, well, this is how I dealt with it, but my situation for dealing with it was very different than many people here. Before we get to all that, I want to remind everybody that the early bird pricing on my upcoming Sweeps and Throws course, where we're going to be focusing on all sorts of Muay Thai takedowns, how to prevent them as well, that is going to expire, the early bird pricing, fairly soon. So make sure you guys jump on that. There's a link down below. Get yourself registered. We're going to have something like 25 videos, 3 live calls. You're going to learn so much. And this is something which elevates your skill level substantially. So gym bullies, I'll start off and talk with you about what my experience has been with them. It's kind of funny, actually. You know, ever since I was, I want to say about 18, my skill level really took off. Prior to that, my skill level was not enough that I could deal with the gym bullies. But fortunately for me, had a lot of people, a lot of adults in the gym who were kind of, you know, I was 25, I was maybe 16, and they would go, oh, Gabriel's 135 pounds, he's a young kid. They wouldn't go too hard. Occasionally, yes, I would have to have some battles, but overall, I was pretty taken care of. Nice group of guys. Recognized size difference, recognized that I was much younger, and didn't leave me with a bunch of concussions and stuff like that. As I started getting older, and my skill level became one of the best, well, the best in the gym, what would often happen is we would have out-of-town people, or even some of the normal guys who would come in who just maybe had a bad day, and they would just start beating on people. And the main coach, he would just make eye contact with me, because we would swap from partner to partner. He would just point at one of the guys and he'd be like, Gabriel. And I would just go in and not leave them with headaches, but sweep them, body shot them, low kick them. I'd be kind of the person that would take out the bullies just to let them know, no, this is not okay. Now, in hindsight, looking back, what should the coach have done? Should he have sent me in to be like the anti-bully dude? Probably not. You just have a conversation with these guys. You just say, look, this is not acceptable at this gym. But that is a funny story. It's one of the things that I ended up doing numerous times in sparring days. Since I just talked about the coach being in charge and making sure everybody's safe, that's what you should be looking for in your own gym, right? If your coach is not doing that, you feel like you're getting bullied, you see your coach watching this happen, and he does nothing, you need to question, is this the right gym for you? That's my opinion. I don't let that happen when I'm coaching. I see somebody who's going too hard, and right away I'm like, whoa, 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 a little bit lighter. Or just remind them, oh, that kid, look at, he's like 8 inches shorter than you. You got to go a little bit easier on them. They don't have that same height as you, that same distance that they can reach. So that's a good coach. If that doesn't work, the coach is not actually actively doing what they should, then I suggest you go and talk to them after. You just be like, oh, you know, that was a really hard sparring session. Is there anything I can do? What did I do to make this guy angry? Because sometimes people don't recognize that either. They're like, whoa, that guy just started going so hard on me. But they don't recognize that they threw the first bomb. And when I spar, the first thing I always do is I go out at a low pace. Little tap, tap, moderate in terms of how fast I'm going to put shots out. And I feel what the other person wants to do. I feel it because it's important to recognize if they're going to go here, I don't want to go way beyond. There needs to be some sort of recognition of how hard we're going to go today. Yes, you can talk about that before, but it doesn't always work. Now, let's just sort of define, in my opinion, why we have gym bullies and what's happening to them, right? I've noticed throughout the years of seeing bullies, whether it be when I was at school when I was younger or in the gym, they're just unhappy people very often. Not maybe all the time, but in that moment, in that day, they're looking for some way to vent frustration. Does that give them the right to bully others? No. No, you should not be somebody at the gym who's like, oh, I have to be on the end of this person's anger because they had a bad day or they've had a bad year or whatever. That's not your job. But I try to be a little bit sympathetic and not completely just go in and knock people out, or when I used to be in school, like get in fights with them, just come over and just sort of stand between somebody and just be like, no, you can't do that. That's fine. But getting into a big fight over it just didn't seem the right move, in my opinion. But a lot of times just remember that people who are going to be bullies, they're hurting in their own way. Does it make it okay? Again, no. So you're at the gym, you talk to your coach. That's not working. Well, maybe next time you spar with that person, you just say, oh, can we do a light day? And if you just say that, maybe they'll kind of like, oh, okay, this guy wants to go light. And that might be a solution. If that's not working, you try to avoid certain people. I used to do this strictly because some of the guys, I'd be like, I know that guy's going to spar hard and my risk of injury is going to go up because I'm going to have to bang with him and maybe I'm a week away from a fight. So I'm just going to avoid that guy today. I'm just going to grab other sparring partners whenever there's a transition, just lock eyes with somebody and get them and avoid that person over there. That is a fair solution. I think in general, dealing with gym bullies, it's always going to be important just to recognize your safety is paramount. And I just did a video today, a short, talking about concussion recovery and something I saw yesterday about taking creatine in small doses for a long period of time post mild concussion to help with recovery. So we don't want to be getting banged around. We don't want our head, we don't want to leave the gym with a headache. That's pretty much it. If you're leaving the gym with a headache, that is bad. It's very bad. And especially if you're just getting bullied around by somebody whose skill level or size or whatever exceeds yours, shouldn't be happening. There's no reason for that to happen. So take some of the suggestions I've given you, try to add them in. They're all logical ones, right? If your skill level is not beyond the person, you can't really fight back, then you just have to talk or rely on somebody else to keep you safe. Those are my go-to suggestions. And don't take it so personally, right? So many people get so down. The messages I get, they're like, oh, I feel so deflated because somebody's bullying me at the gym. And they don't stop and go, maybe I'm not the problem. Maybe this other person just has a really hard life right now and I just need to avoid them. And sometimes that might involve switching gyms, unfortunately, or taking a little hiatus if you're not feeling happy there. But don't put yourself at risk. Don't leave with concussions because somebody's a bully. Protect yourself. Be smart and rely on your coach. Rely on your coach to do the right thing.